Welcome back to IAS Net Study. This is the ethics series, and in this ethics series, this is the 22nd video. You know that we have started a discussion on emotional intelligence, and last three videos, most of the topics we have finished, the prominent topics we have finished, and in this particular video, this is the last video for the fourth unit, and we are going to cover the remaining topics. So it involves application of emotional intelligence in administration and in governance, and how do you develop this? All these aspects we are going to take up here. So let's get into the discussion of this. Here, application in governance. How do you apply emotional intelligence in governance, and how exactly you can handle emotional intelligence in governance? So usually in governance, what exactly it means? It means that you are aware of this connection. You are a civil servant. On top of it, there is a political leadership, and below you have a citizen. You are accountable to both of them here. Now, governance involves all these aspects. One thing, there is a continuous conversation or continuous interaction with your political leadership, and there is a continuous interaction with your citizens. Along with that, you need to consider, or you need to make sure that your colleagues or people who are working in the administration, they are also supporting in that process of administration, in the process of governance. So here there is a continuous interaction with citizens, with elected representatives, with colleagues, and vulnerable communities and diverse stakeholders. So this is the governance. So in order to have effective governance, emotional intelligence play very important role here. Civil servant often operate in emotionally charged environment. There are conflicts in administration. Again, conflicts, it may be with your political leadership, it may be with citizens also, it may be with your colleagues also. So there are conflicts, and there are resource constraints. These are resource constraints, these are genuine problems actually, resource constraint. And one side, there is a public expectation, and they are not happy with the way administration is going, or administration is working, and there is a crisis. In all of a sudden, you are posed with some kind of crisis and conflict, that also you have to manage in the governance. So there will be crisis, and there will be ethical dilemmas. In order to deal with all these things, emotional intelligence play very important role. Of course, technical competency is very much important, but along with that, emotional intelligence is also very much important to deal these kind of complex situation. See, if it's not a complex situation, you have objectivity, you can follow, there are rules and regulations for everything, you follow these rules and regulation, and it's fine. But when the situation is quite tricky and there is a complex situation, now that is going to test your character, and here you need emotional intelligence to deal with these kind of complex or tricky situation in governance, in administration. Now, if you have emotional intelligence, there are some aspects, or there are some attributes they are going to manifest in your conduct. And what are these attributes? The first is empathy. If you are emotionally intelligent, you know that there are certain frameworks, the self-awareness, social awareness, social skill, motivation, these are some of the factors. And in that, when you have this emotional intelligence, there is one factor or attribute that is going to manifest in you, that is nothing but empathy. So you are going to develop the empathy, you are going to develop the social skill. See, when you have this empathy, then you are going to listen patiently what other person is telling, whether it is political leadership or citizens, you are going to listen very patiently. It does not mean that you're going to agree or accept every single thing your political leadership says. No, it is not the case, but you're going to listen to the person very patiently, and you're going to recognize emotional distress, especially with the citizens. So when you are interacting with citizens, when you interact with public, they are not happy with the administration, and they have certain reasons for it also. Now you are going to understand what exactly the reason behind it, that you are going to understand. Once you understand, your response will be compassionate. You make sure that you are going to take some positive action to ease out their stress here. So that is, and you are going to avoid hostility also. See, there people are unhappy and they are rude at you, and you also get triggered, and you also start being rude to them. See, this is going to complicate the issues. So you have to avoid hostility. Ultimately, your aim is public welfare. You should not get triggered with small things. So how do you handle these things? With empathy. How do you develop an empathy? With emotional intelligence, right? So empathy, this is first thing. And the second thing, the aspect of de-escalation is going to manifest if you have emotional intelligence. The same thing, the extension we are going to take the from the first point. I told you that there is an emotional distance, this point. people are not happy with the way administration is working. Now there is a issues like crowd unrest, there is a protesters going on, and there is an emotional outburst. How do you handle this? The first and foremost is you have to remain calm. When you are calm, then you can guide your colleagues properly, you can guide the people who are working in the administration properly. When all you people are efficient, or you have that emotional stability, then you can address the person who is sitting in front of you in an efficient way. So de-escalation, conflict resolution, conflict management is easy when you have emotional intelligence. So second aspect is de-escalation, so you can apply for de-escalation. And the third aspect is when you are emotionally intelligent, you can motivate other person. This is also one of the component of emotional intelligence. So emotionally intelligent leaders understand emotional needs of their staff, and eventually what exactly required, that is going to be given in order to keep them motivated. So you can apply emotional intelligence. How do you apply? Through the factor of motivation, right? So this is another application. Then for decision making, emotional intelligence, I am emotionally stable, so my decisions are quite strong compared to other person who is emotionally disturbed. So it helps in my decision making. That does not mean that I am making illogical decisions, no. When I am emotionally balanced, even my decision making will also going to be rational. So the combination of EQ and IQ. So this is also another application of emotional intelligence, right? And ethical conduct. See, when I am emotionally stable and emotionally balanced, then I understand what is right, what is wrong, what is legal, what is illegal, what is ethical and unethical, and my actions are based on these things. So here my conduct will be positive, and at the same time, if I am getting manipulated from other person, that also I can understand. Since I am emotionally stable, I can understand your emotions also. So if somebody is trying to manipulate me, emotional manipulations, that also I can understand, and I am going to work within my ethical boundaries. So this is another application of emotional intelligence in governance. And then grievance redressal. Grievance redressal, if I am emotional intelligence officer, I am going to listen what exactly you're trying to say. See, you, it is difficult for you to express what is going on, but me being an emotionally intelligent officer, I can understand, I can uh, sort out the issues what exactly you are trying to convey. So officer, EI helps officer listen without becoming defensive, and you're telling something, there is a negative criticism, there is a negative feedback, it is not going to trigger me because I am emotionally stable. I know what you are going through, so I can understand. This is not going to be, I am not going, I'm not going to take it in offensive manner, or I am not going to treat you in a rude manner. So everything is fair, and everything will be handled in calm and composed manner. So there will not be any hostile kind of relationship, or hostile or defensive uh, uh, conversations here. And EI encourages constructive communication and helps citizens feel valued. See, even you are angry, you are a citizen. I'm a IAS officer, and there are few people who are not happy with administration. They are continuously telling administration for drinking water facility, and administration for various reasons they could not able to provide that facility. Now people are very angry. Now they come to you. Now if you have emotionally, if you are emotionally intelligent, they have that grievance, and you have to address it. So if I am emotionally intelligent, then I understand why they are angry, because 50 times they have come, still there is no use, now they are angry. Now I, since I understood this, my communication will be positive. I can pacify them, I can pursue them. So constructive communication can be can be expected from an emotionally intelligent individual. And because of I am positive, my reaction is positive, uh, and I am going to ensure some positive step, even citizens feel some kind of security, and they feel valued, and you can in turn expect citizen centric administration. So this is another application, you can see it in governance. And then this is going to improve the work culture also. See, I am not bursting out, I am not being rude, I am not being harsh, I am not unrealistically targeting anybody in my work culture. So if I make sure that everything uh, is following the standard format, the work culture is positive, then efficiency of people who are working in administration, this is also going to be positive. So EI, emotional intelligence, this is going to reduce burnout, especially uh, the departments which needs extreme input from the administration, like health, taxation, police, disaster management. There you feel lethargic, and you feel that you are overworked. When you are emotionally strong, when you have this emotional intelligence, you can efficiently distinguish the work, and you can efficiently allot the work to the people in the department. So it is going to improve the work culture, it is going to create a positive environment. So this is another application in governance. And loyalty, obviously EI ensures ethical behavior, and loyalty, integrity, tolerance, these are some of the foundational values. So, leaders who show understanding and emotional sensitivity earn respect and cooperation from employees. So, you are showcasing all these foundational values, so you are going to be respected within the work culture and also by people also. And then policy implementation, even in policy implementation also EI helps, emotional intelligence help. How exactly it is going to help? Understanding social emotions helps predict acceptance, resistance and resentment towards policies. See, if you are emotionally intelligent, if I am emotionally intelligent, I can understand your emotions, right? Government want to implement certain policies. Now I can understand what you are feeling. Certain section of people, they are happy, and certain group of people, they are not happy. Now I can understand the reality at the ground level, so I can convey it to the political leadership. Now political leadership get that information next time, or maybe they can modify this particular policy also. Eventually this will help you in efficient policy formulation as well as a policy implementation, right? These are some of the applications in governance. See, emotional intelligence, usually we primarily focus on IQ, the technical competency. Fine, it is very much important. Even in the last video also we were talking about high emotional intelligence and high technical intelligence, that is IQ, intellectual quotient, both are necessary. But don't think that emotional intelligence is a secondary skill. No, it is not. This is also one among the core administrative competency. It is not just your IQ, it is not just the technical competency, it is the emotional intelligence also. This is also going to be considered as administrative competency, right? And because see, it transforms governance from mere rule enforcement to a compassionate, responsive, participatory public service. See, if I am showcasing compassion, better social skill, better social awareness, then there will be trust factor. People understand that yes, administration is responsive. If we are going with our some demands, they are responsive. They are, or at least they are listening to us, and they are trying their best to give these facilities. So people are happy. People are going to trust the administration. People are going to participate in administration. So we can see citizen centric administration. You being emotionally intelligent, you are in a leadership position, you are an IAS officer, you are in a leadership position, you being emotionally intelligent, you have transformed your office in the work culture is positive, there is a positive work environment, and this is, there is a factor of responsive, and your work, your colleagues are happy, your juniors are happy, and now people are also started participation in giving their contribution to the administration. There is a citizen centric administration. Overall, it is a win-win situation. So emotional intelligence, it is going to make sure, it is going to ensure public participation in organization, public participation in administration, right? In fact, most of the values, this I told you before also, most of the foundational values like tolerance, empathy, compassion, dedication, all these things, what is the core is emotional stability. When you are emotionally stable only, then only you can manifest these foundational values in your conduct. So core is the emotional stability. Emotional stability is nothing but emotionally intelligence. When you are emotionally intelligent, then you can ensure implementation and also manifestation of these foundational values in your conduct, in your behavior, and in administration overall. So this is with respect to application of emotional intelligence in governance. Now, the next question is, how do you develop emotional intelligence? Is it possible to develop? Uh, See, usually people say that these abilities are by birth, you have to have certain abilities, and people say that even these kind of emotional management, emotional stability, this also comes by birth. Actually, this may not be true. Actually, yes, some people they get these kind of attributes by birth, but this can also be developed also. There are certain exercises, there are certain applications using following that, implementing that, you can develop emotional intelligence also. So emotional intelligence, it can be learned and it can be improved also. So it is not rigid, and it can be inculcated in life with appropriate effort, right? So how do you develop this? What are the components? Social aware, the self awareness, self regulation, and motivation. Empathy is nothing but social awareness. And then finally, I forgot the last component of the framework. See, these are the components, and focusing on individual component, you can focus on developing emotional intelligence. The first is self-awareness and self-regulation. So self-awareness, self-regulation, it means that I am understanding my emotions. So how do I develop self-awareness? Through the introspection. I am introspecting my emotional pattern. I am introspecting how exactly I am interacting with people. I am introspecting what are the triggering factors. When I understand why, when I introspect my behavior, so it eventually develops self-awareness. So my self-awareness can be cultivated through the introspection. In the same way, self-regulate. Once I introspected, I got to know what are emotions I am feeling. Now I have to regulate my emotions. How do you regulate your emotions? By mindfulness practices, meditation, all these things. By doing all these things, I can control my emotions. So self awareness and self regulation, this is done. And then empathy, or the other factors: motivation, empathy, social skills, all these things. Social skill is that, see, constructive criticism, social learning, feedback. If I am open for constructive criticism, it means that you are telling some, you are giving me something negative or giving me the negative feedback. If I am in a situation where I can sit quietly and listen to it and work on it, then my social skills can be developed. I am listening to you. I am not outrightly rejecting whatever you say. I know that even there might not be 100% true, but still I will listen everything. Then I will see how, what is the truth in it. What can I implement? See, if I developed these things, giving space for constructive criticism, and I am giving space for social learning, or I am accepting feedback, then this is going to eventually develop my social skill. Social skill is also one of the components of emotional intelligence. So focusing on this component, this is going to increase, this is going to ensure so better social skill. It means that eventually I can develop my emotional intelligence. And the another aspect is that empathy, social awareness, or social regulation. So here, self awareness through introspection. How do you develop the social awareness? Social awareness by listening other people with positive mindset. See, social awareness or empathy, it means that I know what you are going through. So how do I develop this quality? Just listening to what you are going through. Now I can analyze you. Self awareness through introspection, I understood myself. Now I am sitting and that implementing same introspection for you. You are telling something and I'm listening to you so that I can understand what you are going through, what pain, what suffering you are going through. So here, listening with positive mindset can strengthen interpersonal skills as well as my empathy. My social awareness can be enhanced by activities like listening with positive mindset. I am not sitting here with preconceived notion. I am just sitting here with open mindedness, and I want to listen what exactly you are going through. So this positive mindset, this step is also ensure, it is also going to develop the factor of empathy in you. Again, if you develop empathy, directly it is going to impact your emotional intelligence, right? And then there is a aspect of another component is motivation also. So how do you develop motivation here? Cultivating positive attributes like honesty, truthfulness, trustworthiness. So eventually, if you have all these positive attributes, it is going to develop optimism. When you develop optimism, this will lead to into the motivation. So you are optimistic and you have a lot of positive attributes in you. Now you can share those positive attributes with other person, so you can motivate other person. First you have to have these positive attributes. Then how can you develop these attributes? By cultivating like honesty, truthfulness, trustworthiness. You can transfer these positive attributes to other person through motivation. So this is another way of developing emotional intelligence. Then uh, role playing or journaling, writing down everything and going through analyzing all these things. Role playing, these kind of things also help you to build emotional intelligence skill. So ultimately what I'm trying to say is, can you develop emotional intelligence? Yes, you can develop emotional intelligence. It is not very rigid. You can improve your emotional intelligence also. All you need is open mindset, open for constructive criticism, open for learning, open for acceptance. When you have these things, all these components, all the five components, you can work on it and you can make changes to these five components, right? This is the way of developing emotional intelligence. Now let's see applications in administrative practices. How do you apply emotional intelligence in administrative practices? There are five components. Again, dissect the topic into these five components. The first component is self awareness. So through self awareness, you can apply emotional intelligence in administrative practice. How do you apply it? See, what happens if I am self-aware, I understand my emotions, I understand your emotion. By understanding your emotion, I can understand you also. I can understand your attitude also, right? This we had a we had a discussion in the first video also, the utility of emotions. There I can understand you, you can understand me, right? So when I am understanding you, I'm understanding your emotions, I am understanding your attitude. When I understand your attitude, now me, if I am an IAS officer, now I have to allot the work. Now I know what kind of person you are, what is your capabilities. Now I can set this, help me to set the realistic target. See, if you are emotionally intelligent, there is a factor of self-awareness. If I am self-aware, I know my capabilities, I am going to set realistic targets. See, I am not going to set that within 1 week I am going to complete complete the GS paper 4. No, it is impossible. Within 1 week I cannot complete. It is going to take more than time. Maybe the last reading you can complete, but maybe first or second reading it is impossible to complete the entire syllabus of ethics within 4 days. This reality I am aware of it, because I have the self awareness. I am not fooling myself. Here I am it helps me to set the realistic targets. I am an IAS officer, I know what are the pros and cons, I know what is the budget. Since I have all these data, then I know the capabilities, I am going to set the realistic target. I want to build a school in particular village. I'm not going to build it within 1 month, it is impossible. The realistic target I have to set. Since I am self aware, I know the pros and cons. Now targets will be realistic. So this is the application in administrative practices. Then it helps in management and delegation of administrative tasks also. Self awareness, I am aware of my emotion, I am aware of your emotions, and since I know about you, then I know that which work you can handle efficiently. So based on my analysis, I am going to delegate, I am going to allocate. Me being an IS officer, I am going to allocate certain work to people in my offices. So this is another application. And the third application is that civil servant with self-awareness cannot be manipulated easily. See, I am emotionally aware. It means that I can understand my emotion, I can understand your emotion. By understanding your emotion, I know who are you, what exactly you are planning, or whatever, what exactly you are going through. So now you cannot manipulate, whether it is political leadership or even with a certain vested interest, person with vested interest. You cannot manipulate me, since I am already having this awareness. So this is applicate the first component, self-awareness, and application of self-awareness in administrative practice. And the next component is self-regulation. Self-regulation, here I am regulating, I am controlling my emotions. And how is it going to help the administration? See, here I am calm and composed, and this behavior, it helps to deal with any situation. Even if there are a conflict, confrontation, I can handle it with ease, since I am calm and composed. And conflict management, disaster management, resolution, confrontation, all these things can be handled if I can control, if I can regulate my emotions, right? And then the again the extended discussion, the good at handling crisis and disaster. So if I regulate my emotions, I will be calm and composed. If I am calm and composed, eventually I am going to be good at handling crisis and disaster, right? Because administration is very dynamic in nature. Don't think that uh, uh, the everyday day-to-day situation will be same for years and years altogether. Every day you're going to have a similar situation. No, it is not that. It is very dynamic in nature. You're going to be questioned, you're going to be posed with new challenges. How do you deal with that? By regulating yourself. When you regulate yourself, inside regulation happens, the external regulation is also easy. So this is second component, and application of second component in administrative practices. And the third component and its application. Third component is empathy. Empathy is the social awareness. So here it helps to understand work environment, move towards better work culture. See, empathy is I can understand what you're going through. Here again, empathy, understanding, social and awareness. Social awareness, the political leadership. Social awareness lead with respect to the colleagues. Social awareness with respect to the citizen. Again, it helps to understand my work environment, how exactly people in my office they are feeling, that I understand, and I can make some changes, and I can move towards better culture, better work culture. So if work culture is better, outcome will be positive. So that is another application. And the next is understanding people and their necessity. This will lead to people centric administration. Obviously, since I have empathy, I am understanding what people are going through, and I can take steps to ease out their difficulties. When I do this, the trust deficit is going to reduce. People are going to trust administration. When people are going to trust administration, their participation is going to be there in administration. So citizen centric administration we can expect. So the third component and its application in administrative practices. And the fourth component of emotional intelligence is social skill. And let's see the application of social skill in administrative practices. See, it helps to sort out differences in work culture. Social skill, I have a better social skill, my I can easily convince you, I can easily persuade you. So if I have these social skills, whatever the differences at work culture, I can eliminate that, and I ensure that even not only between me, there might be issues between other employers also, between two, either A, B, C, D employers, and within them also there are issues. And you being in a leadership position, you can eliminate that differences also. How exactly you are going to do it? Through the better social skill, right? And then it is useful in removing trust deficit among the people about administration. The same point what we had discussed in the last empathy, the same thing here also. It can persuade people regarding government policies. So even policy formulation, policy implementation also, the social skill, you can convince, you can persuade people. So this is another application in administration. And finally, motivation is a another component of ethical, sorry, emotional intelligence. This motivation also, you can use it in administrative practices, because it helps public servant to keep one thing, I can keep myself motivated. So it makes me optimistic, my behavior becomes positive. At the same time, I can motivate others also, I can motivate myself, I can motivate others also. Others include people who are working in my office, or the public, the citizens, I can motivate them also. Or this motivation, it means that positive mindset, being enthusiastic, all these things. So it maintain positive attitude and commitment to the public service. See, I have this motivation, my motivation is towards the public welfare, so I make sure that my commitment is to the public service. So these are the applications of emotional intelligence in administrative practices, right? So we have completed most of the topics. The last topic we are going to discuss now. See, initially when we start the discussion, we talked about basics of emotions. Now let's see this role of human emotions from a public administrative perspective. Uh, we are talking about emotional intelligence. See, is it necessary? Answer is yes. We talked about IQ and EQ. IQ and EQ. We told that IQ, both combination is necessary in the last discussion. So the fact is established. Fact is that yes, we need EQ. Emotional intelligence is also required along with IQ. So as of now, we have accepted. Now let's see from a various thinker perspective. Down the line, maybe the 100 150 years, a lot of thinkers and lot of theories have come with respect to public administration, and these thinkers have talked extensively regarding, do we need emotions in administration, what is the role of emotions in administration, do we need that, do we need ethics in administration. See, all these discussions, they are continuously going on, and it is getting changed. Like 10 years, for 20 years, there is one theory word has accepted. After that, new theory comes, and new theory has given some other inputs, and various governments around the world, they try to inculcate these new theories. See, these kind of changes we have seen in the administration around the world, including USA, UK, and even in India also, we try to inculcate these things. Let's see the uh, various stance taken by various theories, various philosophers. See, we are not going to go in detail because this is not public administration. I'm just going to connect with emotion, human emotion here. So we are not discussing about theories of public administration. We are just connecting human emotion, how exactly various thinkers or philosophers, they thought about human emotions in public administration. Since the chapter is emotional intelligence, so already we have established the fact that we need emotional intelligence, that is accepted. Now we'll see the historic perspective. Now the first theory is classical theory. Classical theory, usually this is given by Max Weber. He talked about theory of bureaucracy, and also Taylor, he also talked about scientific management of administration. See, theory of bureaucracy or scientific management of administration, scientific management of administration, see, they both talked about administration. There are rules and regulation. Even to sign a file, you have to follow the rules and regulation. So everything is objective in nature. Now why do you need emotions in that? There is no necessity of emotion. This is what classical theory talked about. They told that emotions are irrational, and it has to be ignored. Actually, you don't need emotions in administration. So classical theory, Max Weber, Taylor, they've rejected this idea of emotional intelligence. They've rejected the role of emotions, human emotions in administration. So initially, this is the first discussion. Initial stages, human emotions are rejected. They mainly focus on objectivity. You take decision based on objectivity. So this is the role here. And what you have to focus according to classical theories, the rules, hierarchy, efficiency, focus on all these things, not on ethics, not on human emotions. So this is what the classic theory. Then comes human relations movement. The Mayo, Hawthorne, there was an experiment. In that experiment, they've conducted the see good interpersonal skills in an organization. The output is better. They've conducted two scenarios where uh, they've ensured the conclusion is that if there is a good interpersonal skill between the employees, then eventually this is going to impact the output, and output will be positive. It is much better than what we saw in the classical theory. So this is Hawthorne experiment. And even now Mayo also, he talked about human emotions are very important for a productivity. It can be implemented both at private organization as well as the public administration. So initially, classic theory, they outrightly rejected emotions. But public administration, it was not up to the mark. People, they were not having trust in the bureaucrats. They were not trusting the administration itself. So in order to deal with that, new theory came, new approach came, that is public relation management, public relations movement. Here, emotions are important for productivity and morale. These theories, these philosophers, they took a stand that yes, emotions are needed for administration, emotions are needed for management, because emotions, the people who are working in the organization, if they have that emotional connectivity, it is directly going to impact the productivity, directly going to impact that morale. So this is their view. Here they've supported human emotions. They support, indirectly they supported human intelligence, sorry, emotional intelligence. See, emotional intelligence, we have not yet arrived to this terminology of emotional intelligence, but I'm connecting the dots here. Right here, focus will be on worker social and emotional needs. If social and emotional needs are fulfilled, see, in a company I'm working, see, I have a very good friends there, then I'm happy going there. So every day I'm not feeling it as burden, because my friends are there and I spend very good time with them. So I'm happy going there, and I'm spending a lot of time talking. Along with that, make sure that my productive, see, all these positive things, it is directly impacting my productivity also, because I'm happily working. Because I'm happy, my productivity also increases. So there is kind of team spirit. So everybody is working for a certain goal. The goal is for in public administration, it is public welfare, and in private organization, it is complete, maybe company profitability. Like, so here, human relation movement, it supported idea of emotion in a simple way. Classic theory rejected the idea of emotion. Human relations movement supported the idea of emotion. Then after that, there is a theory XY. McGregor, he gave the theory. Here, he also supported employees' motivation is influenced by emotional engagement. See, ignore all these minute detail. Just remember that first classical theory rejected emotional involvement of emotion. Human relation movement supported emotion, and even this theory X and theory Y, this also supported. And here it emphasized that participative leadership and understanding staff emotions. So emotion plays very important role. There's another theory which supported this idea of emotions in administration, in governance. And then comes next, behavioral science and administrative theory. Simon Bernard, they've talked about it, and they also told that emotions influence decision making and cooperation. So recognize that emotional employees emotional commitment affect organization success. Here also, Simon also, Bernard also, the Chester Bernard, they directly told that emotions have a direct impact on organization success. Till now, only first the classical theory have rejected the involvement of emotions. Rest of the theories, rest of the philosophers, they supported involvement of emotions. Now the change happens. By the time 1970s and 1990s, what happens? The somewhere people are losing their trust on public companies, public organization. But at the same time, the private companies, the private organization, they are giving very good service to the people. So people are more attracted towards the uh, these kind of private organization. They are successful and people are also happy. Now the studies were conducted, so many theories came. Now people understood that even public administration should also work like a private organization. So public under administration changed from to a public management. So even public administration should inculcate these policies, these formulations of private establishment, private management. So the idea of new public management came. And here again, in the new public management, in classical theory, they've outrightly rejected emotional aspect, and here in the new public management also, they've ignored the concept of emotions. Here they've told that it is not necessary. Focus on efficiency, focus on rules, focus on rational choices. It is not necessary to involve emotional aspect in management. It is not necessary to involve emotional aspect in administration. Again, here the emotion is rejected, negative. Classical theory rejected, new public management also ignored emotion. But finally later, after 2000s, and this post new public management, uh, maybe from 20-30 years, they've realized that role of emotion is quite important, and they've come up with the terminology of emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence came into the picture in administration, in management, post new public management. Now the both private and public organizations, they've realized that emotion is one among the core pillars actually. So emotional intelligence, it is required for leaders, it is required for workers. If emotionally intelligent uh, employees are there, then eventually this will ensure the efficiency, this will ensure people centric administration. So emotional intelligence, empathy, social skills, self regulation, all these things are important. And this is the conclusion at this point of time, at this era right now. This is the accepted factor. The administration around the world, they've realized that yes, emotional intelligence, emotional factor is very important. It's not just emotions, emotional intelligence also. It is not just interpersonal skill, it is social skill, it is empathy. Beyond interpersonal skill, it is social empathy. All these factors are important for the overall effectiveness, whether it is private administration or public administration. And civil services servants are trained to handle stress, understand citizens emotions, make ethical and people centric decisions. So at this point of time, yes, emotions, initially emotions are rejected, later accepted, and then eventually ignored. Now expanded the terminology to emotional intelligence. Now we are focusing on emotional intelligence quotient also. So this covers aspect of human emotions in public administration. I think this is it. Yes, this is it for the day, and this covers the fourth unit of emotional intelligence. I'll see you guys in the next video with the fifth unit, moral philosophy. Very important chapter, and understanding that is directly linked to your efficiency to handle case studies. So that's a very big chapter, maybe more than 10 videos. I hope to reduce, to restrict to 10 videos. Let's see. So I'll see you guys in the next video with moral philosophy. Thank you, and subscribe to the channel, and thank you for listening.